Give it 1 second. I'm going to do my monitor here so I make sure that the audio is coming through. Hang in there with me. Okay, we are live. Okay, I am not sounding like Darth Vader, so that's very good. I'm going to hit record and I'm going to change the view here. Hello out there, everybody. Okay. All right, welcome in everyone here joining us live, and welcome in to those of you looking in on social media at our various outlets, YouTube and Facebook and wherever else there is shared. I know this is shared into some other Unity ministries as well. So welcome in to this day, the week after Easter, but I say happy Easter too to my Orthodox friends and family out there. This is in the Orthodox churches, this is the day that Easter Sunday is celebrated. So, I'm half Ukrainian, so to my Ukrainian Orthodox friends and family, happy Easter to you, those who are celebrating today. And so welcome in. We had a great time last week, Easter Sunday, celebrating, getting together live and in person. And we don't want to exclude any of you that are out of our local area. So we want to come to you. Tanae's going to talk a little bit more about that. I'm going to turn it over to Tanae. Tanae, please share our daily word, any opening prayer, any opening announcements we might have, and let everybody know what's going on.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Let's see. I'm going to read the daily word. It's not the daily word for today. It's the day's daily word, which is the energizing life of God flows through me. It's healing. So the energizing life of God flows through me. When I feel healthy, I may take my health for granted. However, when I experience discomfort, my mind can become preoccupied with physical aches and worries. Knowing the power of the mind creates reality, I train my thoughts to reclaim my wholeness now. I release thoughts of pain or sickness and affirm, I am made in the image and likeness of God. I am healthy and vibrant, whole and well. I release thoughts of pain or sickness, and I affirm, I am made in the image and likeness of God. I am healthy and vibrant, whole and well. I am a channel for this infinite expression of divine life. The energizing life of God flows through me now, revitalizing, restoring, and renewing. My mind rests on the truth of health, and my body follows its lead. And from the scripture, Isaiah 58:8, then your light shall break forth like the dawn, and your healing shall spring up quickly. Your vindicator shall go before you. The glory of the Lord shall be your rear guard. Isaiah 58, chapter 8th verse. And
All
I
right,
say amen.
thank you, Tanae. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Now
So
I want to
what's
just
going
do a
on?
few, announcements for today. Again, I want to thank everybody who's looking in, who joined us, people who are here on Zoom. Thank you so much for a really wonderful, wonderful Easter Sunday gathering that we had, our prayer breakfast. It was really wonderful. I really enjoyed myself, and I think everybody did too. The next announcement is on May 20th. That's going to be right after Mother's Day. Stephen will be speaking at the Unity of Panama City. So if anybody wants to come and join and be with us there at that church for that day, that would be great. So Sunday service, May 20th, Unity of Panama City. He's been asked to speak, and that's where we are going to be. So if you
No,
want
now
to.
that I look at the, not to interrupt you, now that I look at the calendar, I think you had the date wrong. I think it's May 21st.
Oh, is it
Yeah,
the
it's May
21st?
21st. I'm sorry.
Oh,
21st is
okay.
the Sunday. Sorry to jump
Okay.
in on you.
No, thank you. Okay, perfect. So scratch that, May 21st. Write that down, May 21st, Sunday, May 21st.
You know what we should do?
And yeah, what?
I don't know. Maybe we should get a limo and see who wants to come from around here and go out there and
Oh
win.
my God, that would be awesome.
That'd be fun,
I think
wouldn't
I
it?
see somebody saying, yes, yes, I will
I, d-
go.
I don't see anybody out there. I have it minimized, but
Well, I
we'll,
can see
we'll,
a lot of
we'll
faces
talk
and
about that.
they're
We'll talk
saying,
about it after here. So
I think they're saying, yes, yes, I will go. I think it's a great idea,
that's one way to
actually.
get people to go, right? You
Yes, it
know,
is. I think that would be
I'm
a
easy. You don't have
fantastic.
to do a limo for me. I use Krispy Kreme donuts and I'm there, right?
Oh my God, exactly.
All right, keep going tonight. What else you
Oh
got?
my God. And on that note, we want to start, we're just starting to do everything outwardly and we would like ideas. So please, in Facebook, put any ideas that you have for us, places and things we can do together. Here on Zoom in the chat, just some ideas that you may have for us to get together. My thought would be bowling. I don't know how many people like bowling, or we could do pickleball, or we could do so many other little things, or we could join one of our dear friends on the track and maybe run a little bit. We could do a lot of different things. So any ideas possible, just put them in.
Yeah, me on the track running. That's like that'd be like comedy night, you know. But oh well. Yeah, we just want to, we're doing ministry in a different way. I have to
Yeah.
remind myself, although we have the multimedia ministry and we like getting out here and getting on camera and sharing the message and providing spiritual nourishment 7 days a week. We still do that 7 days a week. But you're talking to more and more people in some of the responsibilities I have with Unity World Headquarters and talking to you, getting together. Ministry in a different way is really what's happening, getting together, having fun. It's in that fellowship. It's really getting together and having the opportunity with like-minded individuals to really practice what we're preaching, to really be able to get together and see and experience the divinity within each and every one of us. And we can do it this way, but we can do it in a more efficient and effective way when we gather together. So it won't be every single Sunday, but we want to generate some
Sprinkle it in there.
ideas and masterminding for some events and some things that we can do and we will do. And going out on the boat is another one, that's near and dear to my
Oh
heart.
yeah,
So we'll
that's the
be
one we're
talking
doing,
about that.
definitely.
All right, let's jump in. Do you have anything else there, darling?
No, that's it right now.
Okay. All right. For those of you looking in for the first time, I do say darling because Tanae is my wife, of course. Before you start with the emails, don't be you just don't know these days, right? Oh my goodness. Okay, I gotta put this so I can see people because I like to kind of see some expressions when I'm going on here a little bit. Okay. All right. Let's dive into today. Let's dive into. All right. I have to find me again so I can pin me. So hold on here 1 second. Here I am. All right. All right. So we finished the series I was doing and we're moving into another I'm going to call this one a mini series because it's going to be inspired, but there's going to be some elements that you have probably seen in the past. After talking to people, a lot of people have told me that they enjoy when I bring in some props because we think in pictures and we're visual creatures, and sometimes when I bring in some prop, it helps you to remember throughout the week some of the messages that we talked about on Sunday, rather than me just being a talking head out here. And then you'll be very pleased to learn that when I was looking at today's talk, I realized it was pretty wordy. So I'm going to I'm going to break up the message I had for today into a couple parts and make this probably a 3 or 4 part series. And today's message is talking about the master's promise. So I want to dive into that, and we'll use a little few props here. I don't have a background, so I can grab some things and use those throughout the message here today. So I wanted to get that out there. And let's dive in. And I want to ask you, and some of this may sound familiar because I'm sprinkling in some things and some messages I've talked about in the past. You know, just remember, it just seems like yesterday we were knee deep in pandemic, right? Probably deeper than knee deep. And what an experience, right? So really, as I thought about what to do over the next few weeks, a statement, you know, my time in meditation, a statement our master teacher Jesus made over 2,000 years ago kept coming up. And this one often does. I share it a lot, but I don't know that I've ever really talked about it and that we've really dove in. You know, we know some of the messages that are out there from John and John 3:16 and all that, but what were Jesus, what were the words that Jesus spoke about what he was doing and what was his reason for doing it? So that kept coming up for me. So now I ponder and reflect and think and meditate on many different things and consider many different scriptures and Bible verses when I move into my prep time, especially when I'm considering a recurring theme. This one was kept coming through loud and clear. So I really needed to pay attention to it. That's what we want to do when we get quiet and pay attention to what's showing up. And here it is, and it comes from John chapter 10, verse 10. Again, I use it often. So here's another piece that may sound familiar. And in John 10, verse 10, it says, I have come so that you may have life and have it more abundantly. I've come so that you may have life and have it more abundantly. So I'm like, okay, God, that's our theme for the next few weeks. I get it. But how about just to add more clarity? What does this statement mean? I mean, what's the message here? What should I share specifically around more abundantly, right? More abundantly. Because before we can explore what Jesus meant, we should probably first define abundance. So, what does it mean to live an abundant life anyway? How would you describe it? Now, I want to just turn to you here for a moment and, invite you to, if you want, jump out and tell me how you would describe abundance in your life. Anybody care to share? You're muted, Tanae.
Of course, I could share all day. Um, for me, abundant is abundant everything from abundant health, long life, great relationships, long-lasting relationships. Just being able to, I guess, abundantly using properly all of the gifts that God has given me. So, and all that get understanding, abundant understanding.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
those are little things for me. But then
yeah,
you go into the material world. But if you go inward, you'll get outward. So
yeah, perfect. You made me think of a couple things there. More abundant understanding. I absolutely love that. Because when we talk about abundance and prosperity, and I get that all the time. Well, it's not all about the money. No, it's not all about the money. Abundant understanding is a great one. That's a great one for a talk series because we've been in the past, we would talk about prosperity consciousness and people say, oh, I got it, and I got it, I got it. But abundant understanding is saying you don't prosperity consciousness is about not always saying there's not enough, there's not enough, there's not enough, lack. And that can be more than just money. An abundance of friendship, right? An abundance of loving relationship, an abundance of sure time and money freedom, but abundance of good health, right? Anybody else? Okay.
abundance of knowledge that I can share for other people.
Oh, good. That's another good one. So you remember when you want to share tonight, you're muted, but that's okay. Oh, Glory's got her hand up too.
I was gonna say, Glory, I was agreeing with JJ. I was saying,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, come on out, Glory.
Well, I was just going to add in that abundance for me is this realization that I am aligned with this infinite substance, that everything that God is flows in and as me. So it's all here right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Love it.
love that. That's a
Yes.
great share. And I love the sharing. This is why we want to do more of this togetherness and rather just being one talking head, because we're all students and we're all teachers, not just one of us. And that's another great one. When we do tend to drift to thoughts of lack or limitation, or that this sickness or illness is never going to go away, and we're giving it power to be our reality, we're dismissing in a way the power and presence of God, the omnipresence of God. So great share, Glory, to great share, everyone, because there is abundance is what God is, an abundance of good, right? That's always there, always on, and everywhere present, wherever we are. So, okay, I'm going to keep going unless somebody else, I don't want to. Now, Sandy, I see your lips moving, but you're muted. Did you want to share?
Oh, I was just gonna say, getting yourself into the vibratory flow so that
Oh,
you can
abundance.
see the visibility of what you're wanting to manifest.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so good. I think I read your lips that time tonight. I think you said exactly.
Yes, and that goes back, I was gonna say that was great because that goes back to feeling is the secret, So it's absolutely right that you get into that vibration of what it is you want.
Yeah. So, and that ties in with what JJ said. The
It
knowledge,
does.
and then of you too, of understanding and glory of that it's always there, right? Because sometimes we can't see it. If we're just looking for our answers to the physical world of form around us, that we can touch and feel and see and hear on TV what we want to hear, touch, and feel, it's not always there. But if we have the knowledge, like JJ said, an abundance of knowledge, that it's always there, that absence of evidence is an evidence of absence. That, okay, I'm going to move through this. It's like going through a storm when we're driving. I used to do a lot of driving in Michigan. And, a lot of people would pull over on the side of the road, say, I gotta wait till this to blow over. Not me, I would keep going because I want to get through it, because I know on the other side of it, it's clear. It's another school of thought. But when it comes to truth teachings and our spiritual reality, we know the omnipresence of God is there. Power, the omnipotence of God is there. And like Glory said, the omniscience and JJ, omniscience, the all-knowingness that God is there. So let's dive back in here. Okay. All right. So I want to ask a little question too for yourself as we move forward. But I want you to just think about that a little bit. What did Jesus really mean by that statement? And I think he came up with a lot of great answers about and around what he really meant. I believe he was telling anyone who would listen that I have come to show you how to create this life for yourself. Think about his life. Everything was provided. And I don't really know if he had another job or a side gig, right? But he was saying, I'll show you how to create this life for yourself. I will give you teachings, practices that will allow you to live an abundantly blessed life. And he said, these teachings, these messages, these practices are not just for some of you, but for everyone. So if you're sitting out there right now thinking, well, this might be well and good, but you don't know my circumstances, You don't know the depths of my despair, my pain, my debt, my illness, my sadness, my sorrow, my grief, and on and on. Well, yes, I do. Maybe not yours specifically, but maybe enough of you talk to me that I do know. And I've been through a few things myself too. And I also know that when we are immersed in the middle of our pain, our debt, our despairs, things can look pretty desperate. Like there's no way out. And you probably think this promise that Jesus made, maybe just maybe it doesn't apply to you, but it does. So I want you to, Tanae usually does this part, but it does. Say aloud with me with your hand on your heart and say, Jesus promised me an abundant life. Jesus promised me an abundant life. There's a promise in there. And he didn't say it like a promise. He didn't say a promise, but he says, I have come. This is what it is. This is a promise, really. Jesus promised me an abundant life. And knowing that, Jesus also said, it is done unto you as you believe. As you believe. So I'm going to kick off this little mini theme, this mini series this morning with a question. Do you believe in magic? Okay. And you get extra points. You can unmute if you know you believe in magic, where that came from. I think most of us are probably in that baby boomer group or created the baby boomers or something. What group sang that song? Do you believe in magic? I don't think we have anybody that's too young to know that. You believe in magic. Remember that? That was the Lovin' Spoonful. Okay. The Lovin' Spoonful. Do you believe in magic? Well, so what is magic? And I'm not talking about the magic we see on the physical plane, where the blade of hand is used to trick us, trick people like the magician. There was this magician on a cruise ship who performed mainly sleight of hand tricks, up close magic. He had a regular spot on the ship's cabaret evening entertainment. He was actually quite a good magician, but he had one big problem. His routines were regularly ruined by the onboard parrot who would fly around squawking and giving away his secrets, saying things like, it's up his sleeve, it's up his sleeve, or it's in his pocket, it's in his pocket, or it's in his mouth, it's in his mouth. The magician was getting pretty sick and tired of all of this, and he threatened to actually do some physical harm to the parrot if it ruined his act one more time. So one evening, and I don't know if it's true or not, one evening, just as the magician was about to disappear in a puff of smoke for his grand finale, the ship hit an iceberg and sank in seconds. Now, amazingly, the magician and the parrot were the only two survivors. Now, the magician was lying on a piece of driftwood in a daze, just floating there. And as he opened his eyes, he could see the parrot staring at him out of his beady little eye. Parrot sat there for what seemed like an eternity, just staring at him, the wheels of his little brain turning and turning. Eventually said, okay, I give up. What did you do with the ship? What did you do with the ship? So I'm not talking about that kind of magic, nor am I talking about any of the magic of, say, making things disappear or appear. No, I'm not talking about hocus pocus, but I love hocus pocus. Tanae and I, we came to find out when we were younger, we used to deal in some hocus pocus and magic. The magic I speak of is the magic of spirit, the power of spirit to take what appears to be nothing and create something out of it. We can do a little of the hocus pocus. I see, you can have this little bag I got here. you can see that, we have hocus pocus, like there's nothing in here, there's nothing in here we can put our hand through, nothing in the little bag or anything, right? But, and let's zip it up here and make sure it's all zipped up. Close that hole in the bottom there. And, yeah, the hole in the bottom stuck, it seems like. There we go. And then we can just see that really there's what we thought was invisible just pouring out of this thing. And, it just keep coming and coming and coming. So anyway, that's my attempt at some hocus pocus. But really what I'm talking about this morning is about the power of God. I mean, power of God and the abundance of some of the things we're talking about. Power of God through us to make a way where there appears to be no way. Right? Power of God can do that in all of our lives. Say that with me. God makes a way where there appears to be no way. God makes a way there where there appears to be no way. And it reminds me of one of my favorite affirmations. I have unshakable faith in the perfect outcome of every situation in my life because God is in absolute control. So that's the magic of spirit that I really want to talk about this morning. And I said I'm going to break this up because I didn't realize what I put together in my outline. So there's a lot here. So we might even call this spiritual alchemy. Life developing and evolving and blending into its potential. Your life, my life, our life, evolving to its highest potential. Expressing our greatness now and witnessing the movement into our greatest yet to be. Having an abundant and more abundant and even more abundant life, abundantly blessed life. It's already there. The gift has already been given. But I want to help you believe in the magic of all this, and I don't know if that's the best word, but it's great to drive this message home to our limited human perspective. And I want to give you some images to help symbolize the magic in life. And we're going to look at some of the things the magicians of this world or the wizards of olden times and some of the things they use. And this is where I'm going to break it up a little bit because I'm going to talk about the wizard's robe. And I didn't bring my robe out here. I actually have a wizard's robe. And then I did bring out, you remember this? I used this before, the hat. They call this a conical hat or a wizard's hat. And of course, the magic wand. And I do have one of those too. But let's just talk about the wizard's robe for a moment and look at how these can be that symbol of spiritual alchemy. So the next time you see a magician on, say, maybe America's Got Talent, if you watch that, or you see an ad for a magician, or you see a magic trick of any kind, you're reminded that these are symbols moving in to remind you of this abundance and this power and this presence of God. First of all, let's think about that robe for a minute. What is the characteristic of a robe? Well, a robe really symbolizes being in the flow. Think of someone that, a professional like that magician and how they manipulate it and they're in the flow and it's wrapped around them and flowing. Let yourself think of this of being embraced by spirit, wrapped in spirit from the inside out and the outside in, as the robe enfolds the wizard. So it could also remind us to enfold ourselves in the wholeness of life, in the realization that it's all God. It's all God. The up, the down, the ebb and the flow, the in and the outs. It's all God. This is the law of rhythm. Because leading a magical life, embracing Jesus' promise of an abundant life, does not necessarily mean we no longer have challenges in our lives. It's how we look at those challenges. Right? It's all about perspective. It's all about perception. I love the quote by the late Wayne Dyer. When we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change, right? So oftentimes we can experience magic in a greater way when we are in a time of great sorrow or loss or fear. You can experience that through those times, through that sorrow, through that loss, through that fear. Why? Because our hearts break open and they crack our old paradigms of understanding, our old knowledge paradigms, shattering our old beliefs and limitations and all those outmoded beliefs. That's really what you all shared this morning. And some of you that have studied this with us know that, hey, it's in there. It's in the journey. It's in there. These outmoded beliefs, these limitations, these paradigms of understanding are only changed in two ways. And that's through that emotional impact. That's how we break the chains of bondage, these paradigms, emotional impact and or constant spaced repetition through affirmative thought, affirmative statements of the desire we would like to realize, that realization we want to experience in our world of effect. People often ask why disasters, deep pain, loss, extreme circumstances occur. And perhaps the questions that would serve us better are, what is there for me to know from this? What knowledge can I take from this when I'm moving through? How must I grow through this circumstance, through this experience? Must I grow? What must change in me to perhaps shift my perspective, to change my perception, to change my vantage point, how I'm looking at it? How must I grow? What must change in me? How does this challenge open me to greater spiritual understanding and a closer walk with God? What is there in here? If everything is good, what is the good in this? Just some questions to ask yourself if you can step back enough from whatever it is that you're going through, whatever challenge, whatever your experience is, whether it's sadness or grief or sorrow, any of that. Or even if you're not experiencing that, maybe looking back at times when you did experience that and say, what is the good in this for me now that supports me on this positive path for spiritual living and an always on awareness of the presence of God? Eric Butterworth, probably everyone on here knows Eric Butterworth, late Unity minister, New Thought author. He wrote, if you are faced with a challenge, refuse to be panic stricken. Life has not ended for you. Life flows on. Declare for yourself, I accept the reality of this situation, but not its permanence. Certainly, there is no point in hiding your head in the sand. The experience is there to be met. Determine that you will meet it on your terms. Do not let an outer happening squeeze you into its box, but open your mind to the flow of wisdom, love, and good judgment by which you can deal masterfully with it. When we are met with challenges, the original blessing of these situations may not be apparently clear, but we can assure ourselves that as in the oyster shell, the pearl lies within the challenge. The problem is that when we fail to end quote there, the problem is that when we fail to remember the presence, we can really get into what we might call the dark night of the soul. And you may even know of someone going through this right now. moving through the dark night of the soul. All of the darkness, or I should say the illusion of darkness, is being experienced because we have tried to bend principle to fit the problem. Start today working with principle to eliminate the darkness, right? Perception, perspective. Rumi, and I think I'm gonna wrap this up, and we'll look at the hat and the magic wand next week. But I want to share Rumi here, the 13th century Persian mystical poet. I love Rumi. He wrote a famous poem called the Guest House. But listen to the magic of flow, to the and in the embracing the fullness of God in Rumi's words. Here we go. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house, empty it of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. So this morning, think of that. Think about when you perhaps entered a cold climate and wrapped yourself in a robe or a cloak or a cape, or even as a child when you used to play with those things. Let's use the wizard's robe to symbolize being in the flow and embracing the fullness of life. As the robe enfolds the wizard and the wise men, so it could remind us to enfold ourselves in the wholeness of life, in the realization that it's all God, the up, the down, the ebb and the flow, the ins and the outs. It's all God, and there's good in it. So I'm going to leave it right there, and we're going to continue looking at the magic that can be found in our life. That's really just God working. I assure you, the gift has already been given. So I'm going to leave it right there, and I'm going to say thank you to all of you on Facebook. We're going to end our live stream right here, and we're going to share some fellowship and Q&A time in our Zoom behind the screens, so to speak. If you want to join us on that, hey, reach out to me. I'll get you on the newsletter, and I'll get you all the information to come and join us behind the scenes. So I wish for you an infinitely spectacular day. God bless you.